9 years ago, Cardiff Council, in conjunction with the 3 universities, set up a campaign called Get It Out For Cardiff. And the aim of that scheme was to increase recycling and reuse at the end of term, and also to reduce waste to landfill. There's 40,000 students that live here, and together they do have an environmental impact, but we don't want that to be a negative impact. Together they can create a quite positive impact. When students move out, sometimes it can be a bit of a rush, because they only have a few days to do it, and I don't think students realise how much stuff they actually do have when they're moving out.
In terms of electrical appliances, there's quite a lot of, they're just thrown out basically in with black rubbish with the garbage, or they're just left in the houses. The sorts of electrical appliances that we're looking at is very often kettles and toasters and a lot of those sort of smaller items that students bring with them, and they maybe when they move in they bring 5 toasters with them, or clearly they're not going to use all 5, so 4 usually get left in the house or thrown out.
The number of things which are donated vary, so we have irons, toasters, kettles, toasty making machines, printers. These are all collected and taken to our depot down in East Moors in Cardiff, where we clean them up, have them pat tested, do any minor repairs, and then store them for a sales event which takes place at the Cardiff Students' Union in September. There are very few which need to be disposed of. Generally students buy something and use it a little bit, and then at the end of the term they throw it away. And so when the sales come around at the Students' Union, we're selling items for £2 or £3, which would be well-known brands of kettle and iron and so on, selling normally for maybe £10, £20. So it's quite a rush at the start of the sale when people realise that there's bargains to be had.
So what we've done is we've worked with the YMCA to provide 18 collection points within the target area. These collection points are for reuse items, so people who are moving out can donate things that they no longer need but someone else might have a need for. They're located in strategic places, so it's easily accessible for people, and they can take things like clothes, small electrical items, books, textiles, things along those lines.
This space is one of our donation points, our green zones across the city. It's one of 18, so this is a laundry room in one of the accommodation blocks. And so the zone consists of a YMCA bin, a red bin, where students can donate anything from clothes to books to electrical items, things like that. A box for fair share where they can donate any unopened food that's still in date that we can reuse. So anything like cutlery, plates, bowls, anything like that. One week actually, I think it was the end of June, the week that everyone was moving out in this certain accommodation block, this whole room was completely full. We couldn't even open the door. So you can just imagine how much stuff we do get. So we collect it every single Wednesday. And we take it to the storage unit, and then we sort it all out and clean it throughout the summer, and then resell it to students in September.
The way we communicate the message about how to get rid of rubbish to our students is that a couple of months in advance they'll have a letter explaining what they need to do to move out. We'll also text them a couple of weeks in advance and other reminders so that they're quite clear about what they need to do with their rubbish.
The scheme's really heavily promoted in Cardiff. We put a poster in every single student flat in accommodation blocks across the city, telling them that there's a green zone in the laundry room, so most students react quite well to that because it's so close to them. Information also goes out on the Student Union websites and the university websites, on the Cardiff Digs website, which is my website that gives advice to students in the area. It's also put on our blog, on Facebook, Twitter, and the university share information that way as well. It's also put out in the local newspapers and the Student Union newspapers. We try and use different tools to convey the messages, but I find the most effective way of communicating is face-to-face. So we do a lot of door knocking. We have volunteers called the Environmental Champions that come out with us. They're all students and residents in the local community. And we also have, the Cardiff Council have a dedicated team of 4 waste officers who knock on doors and they tell people, and we put posters up, leaflets, and just a lot of things like that.
I used the Get Out of Cardiff scheme last year, and I'll definitely use it again this year.
The Get Out of Cardiff scheme is great. I wouldn't put a kettle or any other electrical things in a black bin bag, and I'll definitely keep using the collection points.
Well, it just doesn't make sense for people to bring loads of stuff into the same house, and for a lot of it to get thrown away. It creates a lot of waste, and waste isn't good for the environment, is it? So
We've actually seen a 30% reduction this year in the total waste collected and disposed of and recycled in these areas. So things are going in the right direction. The campaign is finished now for this year. We've got all the stats together, and the recycling rate is around about 40%, with 12.5 tonnes of reuse material collected, and around about a tonne of that was small electricals that have been donated by student households for reuse.
So last year we had 1.5 tonnes of electrical goods alone, which is a phenomenal number of items, of irons and kettles and so on. And we're probably heading for that sort of figure again this year. This all helps us make the whole project sustainable, and where we've had volunteers, many volunteers, around about 20 or so every week, working in the recycling unit or the shop. And we've been able to create jobs for homeless people and house them at the same time. So we have about 7, I think, staff now who have come through this recycling project into full-time employment and permanent accommodation.